Hi, I'm going to show you today some of the updates that we've made to Poodle that feature AI and that we've been developing over the last few months. You can see those features on the right hand side. There's image generation, passage reading, free speaking, free writing, audio chat, and auto generate for me listen. Let's go and have a look at image generation. So here we have a word cards activity. Word cards is a flashcards word learning activity for Moodle, and in this case we've got the card, and then on the flip side of the card we have the definition of that word or the translation of that word in the user's native language, and beneath that we have this image. That image was generated by AI, and one of the interesting things that we can see here is that the word issue. So the word issue has different meanings. It could have meant an issue of a magazine, or it could have meant to publish something, or it could have meant a problem issue. And in this case, it's a problem issue, and the AI has chosen the correct meaning of the word to make a picture for. How did it do that? Well, we have a feature here in Poodle word cards which allows you to choose the native language of the learner. So I'm going to change my native language here to Spanish and change that. And that will change the definition of the word which has been in Japanese into Spanish to match the native language of the learner. And for that feature to work, we've had to build a system where it matches the meaning of the word in different languages when a word might have more than one different meaning. A classic example is the word bank, which can mean a place where you store money, or the edge of a river, or an aeroplane maneuver. So using that same feature, which allows us to match different meanings of the word across languages, we've been able to match the meaning of the word to the image that's generated. And here are those images here. So how do we generate those images? It does it all in a batch, and the batch finishes very quickly. It'll finish in a minute or so. I'm not going to add a whole bunch of words here. I'm just going to add one. So let's put the word, we mentioned the word bank, so let's put the word bank in here. I'll choose my definitions language as Spanish just to match what we selected before, and we fetch the definitions of that word. So this is a new word that we're going to add to this set, which allows us then to add an image to this word as well. So so here we have, when landing at this airport, the plane has to bank to the left before beginning its descent. So that's the meaning of the word bank that we're going to use in this activity. So we've added that word now to the word cards activity. Let's go and have a look. And we should see that we've got the word bank somewhere in here, but we don't yet have a picture for it. Okay, that's great. So let's go back to the word wizard. And now when we click on this Fetch Images button, it's going to generate an image for each term that does not already have an image. In this case, it's just a word bank. Click Fetch. When it does this, it generates images in parallel. So what that means is, rather than generate image 1 and then generate image 2 and then generate image 3, which will take 3 times the amount of time that it takes to generate a single image, it generates all the images at the same time. So even if we're generating 20 images or 10 images, it won't take significantly longer than generating one image. Conversely, generating one image will still take up to a minute or so to come back. So hopefully that will be back here for us soon. Okay, and there it is. There's the image of our airplane banking. So let's go back and have a look at the list of words. And if we go down the list, okay, here we have bank, and the word the bank now has that image associated with it. Okay, so that is the new feature which allows us to generate images for words in word cards. It's very powerful, and it'll work for words that actually are not visual words. They have a vaguer or an intangible sort of a definition as well. Okay, so the next item we want to look at there is passage reading, and it's much like read aloud, except that it's inside mini lesson. And Read Aloud is a very fully featured application and has a lot of functions that are very useful for teachers when they're focusing on reading. But in mini lessons, sometimes you just want a quick reading step, which is prior to another step that's perhaps a comprehension quiz or prefaces something else. So passage reading allows us to do that, and I'll give a quick demonstration. Worms live under the ground. We do not see them, but they are important. Without worms, plants would not grow. Worms help to make the soil good for growing the plants we use for food. Okay, so you can see it did a pretty good job of matching the words that we did say, picking up the words that we didn't read correctly, and marking in grey the words we didn't yet get to. And there's statistics at the top here about how we did on that reading activity. So that's passage reading, and now we've got free speaking. So free speaking, this is an open speaking activity, much like Poodll Solo. And in Poodll Solo, we give students a task or a topic, a speaking topic. We measure how well they read that. And as with the discussion about Read Aloud and passage reading in mini lesson, Poodll Solo is a more fully featured product that really focuses on an open topic speaking assignment. Free speaking in mini lesson, it's much more lightweight, but you can create quite good activities and they're graded very quickly. So in this case we're going to discuss this picture, and I'll do that and make a few mistakes. In this picture we got the dog, and the dog, it ride the bike, and on the dog head there is a cat, and that cat, it holding two mouses. One of the mouses, it juggle the ball. So that's going to give us feedback on our speaking in our native language, which we selected as Spanish earlier. And here we can see that feedback now. So first of all, this is the original, this is what we said. And these are the corrections to our speaking. So in this picture, we got the dog becomes in this picture we have a dog. And the dog, it ride the bike becomes the dog is riding a bike. It's also picked up we messed up the plural for mouse, which is mice. We said mouses, but it's picked that up as well. And then beneath that, it's given us text feedback in Spanish, which is the language of the learner. So we got the bike should be we have a dog, and the dog is riding a bike. So we got the dog should become we have a dog and the dog is riding a bike. And it's also picked up down here that there are elements of the picture that we didn't describe, notably the colour of the dog and the cat. How did it know what the colour of the dog and the cat was? So let's go and have a look at the settings for this particular item in the mini lesson. So we can see we added the image at the top in the content area, and then beneath that we have instructions for the AI, and these instructions are specific for describing a picture in this case, and they read: the student is describing a picture. The picture depicts the following scene. AI data 1, give 5 points for each grammatically correct sentence that the student uses to describe part of the picture. Give 3 points if the sentence is almost correct. So the scene is described in this field here, AI data 1, which actually maps to this location here. So in the prompt, we just simply have like a generic prompt that doesn't need to be edited in the case of describing a picture, but it can be edited. And we have a field where we can actually describe what the picture is, and that is here. And you can see we say here that the dog is black and white and that the cat is ginger and white, and that's how it knows that the student might include that in their speaking, and to say that if they don't, to say it if they do not. The grade is built up from this points allocation here, 5 points for each grammatically correct sentence and 3 points if the sentence is almost correct, and the maximum grade will be 30. And so using these instructions, AI should give them the maximum grade if they speak well, and give them a lesser grade if they do not speak so well. Now, very similar to free speaking is free writing. If we look at the free writing task here, in this case we're asked how are cats different to elephants. I'll do that here. Cats are smaller than elephants. I make a mistake. They are also cuter than elephants, and they got the tiny small nose, not like the big long elephant one. Okay, so that's my response. It's basically the same as the free speaking activity, except that in place of an audio recorder we have a text area. When I click on submit, that will be evaluated and we should get some feedback for us and corrections on our writing. So there's the original text, here are the corrections to our text, and then here we have some feedback for us in our native language, which in this case we set to be Spanish. So the next item I want to show you is audio chat. So audio chat is quite an exciting new activity, which is we're going to chat with an AI partner about the topic that the teacher sets. So in this case, that topic is what did you do last weekend? So let me try that. It takes a few seconds to connect, and it might actually be faster for you than it is for me here, but it won't take any longer than 15 seconds.
Hello, my name is Sage. Today, we're going to talk about last weekend and what you did. Last weekend means the Saturday and Sunday that just passed. What did you do last weekend? Did you go anywhere special or do something fun?
I went to my son's tennis game. I watched him play tennis.
That sounds wonderful. Watching your son play tennis must have been exciting. Tennis is a sport where players use a racket to hit a small ball over a net. Did he enjoy the game? How did he play?
He won one game and he lost the second game. I think he enjoyed it.
Congratulations to him on winning a game. It's great that he had fun even if he lost the second one. Tennis can be challenging but also enjoyable.
Okay, we'll finish there. But you can see it does a fairly good job of having a natural conversation with a student. Perhaps the way in which the AI responded to those, my conversation, we may want to tweak that to make it less chatty, or to give some information about the AI's weekend or whatever it is that we're talking about. That can be done in the settings. And we can see in this case, it's actually giving us feedback in Chinese. So I think I've probably set this one up a little bit differently. But it's giving us a star rating, which behind the scenes is a grade that goes into the grade book. And it's giving us some feedback in Chinese in this case. So let's have a look at another audio chat, which works it's still audio chat, so it's similar, but it has some different setup. In this case, we're going to ask the student some questions about that picture. So if we just scroll down and have a look at the settings for this activity, again in the content area we've added our picture. Here we're describing to the AI what the picture contains. And these are instructions to the AI. Your AI role, which is here, helpful language teacher. Your name is AI voice. You are teaching target language. The student is a native speaker of native language. Here it's English. The student is looking at a picture that depicts the following scene, which is the topic. And then your task is to ask the student the following questions one at a time. So here are those questions here. What is the man doing? What is the man thinking about? Where do you think he is? Do you practice anything? Tell me about it. So it will go through in each of the conversation steps asking us a question, and then its own responses should be brief, and we've told it not to comment on the content of their response or if it was correct, but to help them if they did not understand the question. And we're also giving a grade, 25 points for each correct answer to a question. So there are 4 questions, so they'll get 100% if they had all 4 questions correct. Let's go and have a look at how the AI performs that activity. Again, we have to wait a little bit for the AI to connect, for the audio to connect.
Hello, my name is Alloy. Today we're going to talk about a picture and describe what's happening in it. Let's start with the first question. What is the man doing?
He is playing football.
Great. Next question. What is the man thinking about?
He is thinking about eating a cheese sandwich.
He might actually be imagining something related to soccer. Let me rephrase the question. What is the man imagining about winning and celebrating?
He is imagining that he wins a soccer game.
Excellent. Now, where do you think he is? Is he at a specific place like a park or a school?
I think it's probably a park.
Great choice. Finally, do you practice anything? Tell me about it.
I practice Japanese because I live in Japan and it's important for me to speak Japanese.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Please press the end button.
Okay, and I think it did a fairly good job of matching or follow the instructions that we gave it on how to respond to the student. It's recorded all of those answers, so as a teacher we're going to be able to go through and see how the student responded to each of those questions, and it's given us a grade as well and some feedback for the student. Let's just quickly go and have a look at what the Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is the auto-generate feature in mini-lesson. This allows us to create mini-lesson activities or sets of activities, which is quite useful because they take some time to create, they take some time to learn how to create. So if we go to the auto-generate tab in the mini-lesson activity, we have some templates of lessons that we will use AI to complete. There will be more templates soon. These are just kind of early ones, but the process is quite neat. So if we find the template that we want to use, in this case we'll use an audio story, which will create an audio story and then create some listening and speaking activities based on that story. So I'm going to click AI Generate, and that will give me this little area to enter some information about the story that I want, and I'm going to choose the student's language level is CEFA A2 and the story style is funny, and we'll put a story, a boy who becomes friends with a puppy and has an adventure. The more detail the better actually, so you'll get a more cohesive story and something perhaps that matches the interests of your students. In this case, this is quite a brief instruction. When we press Save Changes, the process is scheduled, and that will actually run in the background in what's called an ad hoc task. So it might take 2 or 3 minutes for the audio story to be generated, but that will be about 6 separate items in the mini lesson. One of those is the story itself, the other is a passage gap fill, the other is a fluency activity where they're speaking, and there'll also be a free speaking activity. I'm just going to skip forward because I don't want you to wait. So it'll be ready in just a moment. Okay, so here is the mini lesson that we generated. And we can see it looks like a video, but it's actually an audio with some images. Let's play that through briefly.
Once upon a time, there was a boy named Tim. Tim loved to play in the park near his house. One sunny day, while he was playing, he heard a soft whimpering sound. Curious, Tim followed the sound and found a small, fluffy puppy hiding under a bench. The puppy looked lost and scared.
Okay.
Tim gently picked.
Now we can actually alter the audio or the text to speech that is created there, and we can alter the pictures or the timing of those pictures. So it's quite flexible, but out of the box it's generated a little story for us with a video slideshow or a picture slideshow. On the next page we've got a passage gap fill. So this is pretty much what it looks like.
Once upon a time, there was a boy named Tim. Tim loved to play in the park near his house. One sunny day.
We can get hints for the words like that. And it's important to note that even though, for example, the word Tim here might not be a word that you or I would choose for a gap fill, and we probably wouldn't repeat it several times throughout the course of the passage, but this is made for you, and then you can just go in and edit it to suit how you think it should be constructed. It's probably step 1, and step 2 is to go and check things and make them as you want them to be. Now, on the next step, we've got a fluency activity.
Tim loved to play in the park.
And this is a pronunciation activity. I'll read the sentence and it'll tell me how well I read that sentence. Tim loved to play in the park. Okay, and orange isn't too bad actually, so that's effectively a pass. But if I really mess it up, it'll give me a different result. Tim love play in the park. Okay, and I can listen to my own audio again. Or I can listen to the model audio.
Tim loved to play in the park.
And then each of those sentences that we're going to be asked to work with
he heard a soft whimpering sound.
So that's the fluency activity, and that was auto-generated. And then next we have a reading activity. This is the passage reading which we saw earlier. I won't bother to demonstrate that again. And finally, it's created a free speaking activity about the passage. Can you tell us about a time when you made a new friend, like the boy who found the lost puppy? What did you do together? I met my wife once because I was starting a new job and she came to greet me at the hotel. It's a true story. Thank you. That will give me what they're going to say about my story. Okay. Well, it's given me a result. I guess my topic I didn't say enough, and only got 2 out of 5. But anyway, the point is that we can create these nice lessons using the AI auto-generate feature. So it's been a quick walkthrough, one take, of the image generation, passage reading, free speaking, free writing, audio chat, fluency, also so fluency, and auto-generate features of Poodle that have been added recently. If you're interested in learning more about those, please get in touch, and those are available right now to be used.